Well, Zimbabwe's government has denied targeting journalist Hopewell Chingono and politician Jacob Ngarivume for their anti-corruption stance. The pair were arrested on Monday and charged with inciting violence. This is in connection to a planned national demonstration for July 31st. The protest was against corruption in government as well as poor service delivery across the country. These arrests have sparked outrage in Zimbabwe and abroad. Human rights advocacy groups have called on government to refrain from what they call misusing the criminal justice system to prosecute journalists and activists who are simply exercising their right to freedom of speech and peaceful assembly. When I joined via Skype by political analyst Bezisai Ruhanya. Thank you so very much for joining us here on SABC News, sir.
Thank you very much.
Now, one would have thought that these kinds of things would have ended in the era of, the former late president of Zimbabwe, Robert Mugabe. What exactly is going on? How is basic journalism and covering stories now considered to be a problem in Zimbabwe?
The fundamental issue is that following the overthrow of former President Robert Mugabe by the military in November 2017, there has never been fundamental changes in the institutional framework, in the institutional governance framework of the Republic of Zimbabwe. So the predatory, extractive, parasitic nature of the party-state military complex did not change. So what changed was the face of the president. But the system, which is violent, which is corrupt, which is predatory, did not change. So what we saw in November 2017 was a change of guard, but not a change of the structures, the institutions, and the agencies that are responsible for corruption, responsible for human rights violations. For instance, where in the world have you ever heard of a journalist who masterminded the overthrow of a government? Where? I have not heard so far in my life a history of a journalist who overthrew a government. How does it happen that a journalist who exposes corruption, who exposes graft, who exposes human rights violations, things that the regime, the government does not dispute, that there have been massive human rights violations, massive corruption to do with COVID-19, PPE, and they go on to arrest the journalist who is assisting the public to understand what is going on in the state amidst the coronavirus pandemic.
Mr. Ruhanya, the information minister is saying that the two are being backed by Western forces that are supporting an alleged coup attempt. According to the government of Zimbabwe and the information minister, who do they believe these Western forces want to have in power? Who do they, I suppose, think that they want to be president of Zimbabwe at this time? Who would they want as a replacement?
It would be unfortunate for us to address hallucinations of a failed regime. There is no such thing. Those are delusions of a corrupt authoritarian regime that is failing to deliver on its promises. They came as a new dispensation. They came as open for business. They came trying to do business with the international community. But what they are delivering is corruption. What they are delivering is violence. And surely violence, corruption cannot redeem a state that has been going under political and economic decomposition for the past 40 years. They have not changed how the state was operating under Mugabe. And as a result, the problems that Zimbabwe faced during Mugabe's period are the same problems that Zimbabwe is facing under Mnangagwa, because he is refusing to change. He is refusing to reform the political system. They want to reform the economy under authoritarian tutelage without reforming the political. But the economic regeneration of Zimbabwe is tied to its political regeneration. So there can never be economic regeneration without political regeneration. So political regeneration and economic regeneration are tied together. It is difficult to have marketization of the economy without marketization of the polity, without democratization of politics. And Mnangagwa wants to have marketization of the economy without democratization. That's why they are going for journalists. But what is tragic and sad is that Zimbabwe did not expect that Zimbabwe would sink this low after Mugabe. They thought after Mugabe things would be better. But these guys were simply saying, we want to have a chance to loot. We want to have a chance to steal. Not that they wanted to reform the state. And their failure to reform the politics of the state is what is leading to this momentous and monumental corruption in the state.
Yeah. What we saw, I saw some visuals of what I really perceive as a breaking in, really, where we saw Hopewell Chingono's home being broken into and him being taken out of his house. We saw, glasses being broken, all of that. Is this a norm? We show this everywhere else and nobody considers this any kind of normal standard. And doesn't the government couldn't they have perhaps sat down with him? Could they not have spoken to him? What we saw is absolutely repulsive. How is this acceptable? And what are people saying, in Zimbabwe about what's happened? And are there other journalists that are in Zimbabwe that are in fact in danger of things like this happening to them?
Yeah, what happened is very unfortunate. It is repulsive, but it is consistent with the rule of ZANU-PF. You remember that in the 80s, we had what is called the Gugurahundi, where over 20,000 citizens of this country were murdered with impunity, and not a single person has been prosecuted today over the Gugurahundi massacres. So what we saw at Hopewell, that's why the lawyer, Beatrice Mtetwa, was saying that his client was abducted. Yeah. Because the police who went to Hopewell's house did not have a court order. They did not have a warrant to search his property. So what they do is that they first abduct you. After abducting you, then they put you before the justice system. But the problem we face is that the justice system is supposed to be a citadel of justice. It's supposed to be a citadel of freedom. But what the courts in Zimbabwe do is what ZANU-PF wants. So there's a perception that in Zimbabwe we have a captured judiciary. Only last week the Chief Justice wrote a memo saying that judges must submit judgments that they are supposed to deliver to their superiors before those judgments are read in court. He had to withdraw because I think he had realized that he had made a mistake by making that public. But I can tell you that on Friday I went to Hopewell's case. I saw the Chief Justice at the Magistrates Court. The Magistrates Court and the office of the Chief Justice are 3 kilometers apart. I don't know what the Chief Justice was doing at the Harare Magistrates Court in the midst of him ordering his juniors to submit their judgments before they issue them out. These are systematic rogue state behavior. And this is not something that is expected in a democratic state, particularly a government that says they wanted to do away with past abuses by Mugabe. But what we realize is that Mugabe was just a figurehead of a rotten political system that refuses to change, that refuses to democratize. It behaves like the Rhodesian regime. It behaves like the apartheid regime where people's homes are broken into in the process of investigation. Journalism is not a crime. Hopewell is not a criminal. Ngari Bvume is not a criminal. They could have even asked them to go to the police station with their lawyers and they could have gone there. But because they believe in intimidation, they believe in violence, they think that by violating him, by intimidating him, he will not tell the truth. But the issue is that we have a party, state, military complex that is in charge in Zimbabwe and that refuses to democratize, that refuses to live by the fundamental norms as enshrined in our constitution, as enshrined in the SADC principles and guidelines governing the conduct of democratic elections, and even in the African Charter on democracy and human rights. They can't abide by any minimum norms of good governance. So we have fundamentally a rogue state that refuses to follow its own constitutional architecture. Because what Hopewell is doing is provided in the constitution. What Ngari Bvume is doing is provided in the constitution. They never said in writing or in speech that they want to overthrow a government. And in any case, there is no history of a journalist who has ever overthrown a government.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so very much for giving us your time and weighing in on this issue. Political analyst Perizai Ruhanya, thank you, sir, for giving us your time. Of course, he's giving us an update there on Hopewell Chingono, a former colleague, actually, of mine, investigative journalist who's in fact been denied bail there in Zimbabwe after we saw some footage of his house being broken into, and he was what we're calling abducted from his home, essentially. Of course, we'll keep abreast of this particular story for you and personally for ourselves as well.